the moment Marco said goodnight. I thought the evening had reached its soft, predictable end. The kind of night that ends in polite smiles, brief hugs, and the quiet click of a door. But then he moved closer, and the world shifted. His jet black hair caught the warm glow of the lamp, falling just slightly into his eyes as he brushed back the strands with a casual tilt of his head. Clean-shaven, soft-featured, and effortlessly magnetic, Marcos looked at me as though he were seeing something I had tried for years to hide, even from myself. "Wait," I said, voice catching on the word before it fully left my lips. He paused, the faint light highlighting his white button-down shirt, collar open, sleeves rolled slightly in slim navy trousers. A simple leather bracelet peeked from beneath his cuff, a subtle signal of his effortless charm. His eyes, warm, inviting, just a little daring, held mine steadily, and in that instant I knew that goodnight was no longer the final word. I shifted slightly on the neutral-toned sofa, the soft throw under my arm brushing against my charcoal shirt. My heart raced, a mix of anticipation and disbelief. "Marcos, we shouldn't," I began, but my words fell flat. His smile, gentle and teasing, conveyed everything I hadn't been able to articulate. It was not urgency that drew him close. It was intention. Before I could respond, he leaned just a little, his arm brushing mine, sending a jolt of warmth straight through me. The lamp cast golden highlights across his features, emphasizing the contrast of his jet black hair and my neatly styled dark brown side fade. Light stubble along my jawline marked me as different, yet complementary, to him. I found myself drawn toward him almost instinctively, a subtle gravitational pull I had denied for too long. "Good night," he murmured again, voice soft, almost conspiratorial. And yet, in the gentle inflection of his words, I could hear something more, a promise, a dare, a confession waiting to unfold. My hands moved nervously to adjust my sleeves, yet I couldn't tear my eyes from his. Every small gesture, the way his fingers lightly rested against the side of the sofa, the way he shifted his weight to face me fully, spoke louder than words ever could. Slowly, hesitantly, I leaned a fraction closer. Marcos mirrored me perfectly, the space between us shrinking by mere inches yet carrying the weight of unspoken longing. The warmth from his proximity was magnetic, drawing me in while making it impossible to think clearly. He didn't rush, didn't push. He simply existed close enough for me to notice every detail. The texture of his shirt, the warmth radiating from his body, the faint scent of his cologne mingling with the cozy air of the dimly lit room. "I wanted to do this all night," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, yet it reverberated through the quiet room. His words were calm but loaded with intent, a declaration disguised in casual phrasing. My fingers, almost on their own, brushed against his arm. He responded immediately, resting his hand lightly over mine, not demanding, just claiming in the softest, most deliberate way. A shiver ran down my spine as our eyes met again, holding a gaze that spoke of patience and years of suppressed emotion. "Marcos," I tried to whisper, but my voice caught, betraying the anticipation building inside me. He tilted his head, offering that soft, knowing smile that made everything feel inevitable, yet safe. Our hands remained intertwined, hovering for a moment as if testing the waters, seeking consent in the quiet tension. I could feel the weight of him beside me, the steady warmth of his arm, the subtle brush of his chest against mine, and for the first time, I allowed myself to relax into it, to respond fully to the invitation he had extended without a word. The sofa beneath us, neutral and unassuming, became our private stage. The warm lamp glow, the soft throw, the gentle flicker of shadows, all conspired to create a cinematic cocoon around us. In that space, there was no room for hesitation, only for recognition. That his arms, though said goodnight, had other plans, and mine were ready to meet them. As he leaned just slightly closer, the golden light illuminating the contours of his face, I felt a quiet surrender. This night, this moment, was ours. And finally I understood. Goodnight had never been the end. It had been the beginning. The warmth of Marcos's presence beside me lingered long after our hands had intertwined. The sofa beneath us felt smaller, cozier somehow, as if the neutral-toned cushions and soft throw conspired to pull us closer. The warm lamp cast a golden glow across his fitted white shirt, highlighting the subtle crease where his arm rested near mine, and the soft curve of his jaw, clean-shaven and calm. His dark navy trousers complemented the light, casual elegance of his shirt, and the simple leather bracelet on his wrist caught the light with every subtle movement. I shifted slightly, conscious of proximity, and felt a gentle brush of his hand against mine. "Are you sure?" I whispered, my voice barely audible, though my heartbeat was loud enough for both of us to feel. Marcos tilted his head, those jet-black eyes holding mine with unwavering focus, and gave the faintest smile, soft, reassuring, teasing. "I've never been more sure," he murmured, his voice low, deliberate, yet gentle. There was no rush, no pressure, only the quiet weight of intention. I felt my shoulders relax slightly as his presence enveloped me, steady and grounding. Slowly, I leaned toward him, feeling the warmth of his chest and the slight shift of his arm as he moved to mirror my motion. The space between us disappeared in inches, though every small movement was measured, deliberate, intimate. His hand remained lightly on mine, fingers brushing in a silent conversation of trust and desire. The golden lamplight highlighted the contrast of our appearances, his jet-black hair against my neatly styled dark brown fade, his clean-shaven skin against my faint stubble, creating a cinematic frame that felt almost unreal. "I wanted this for longer than I care to admit," Marcos confessed, voice soft, almost a whisper that vibrated through a quiet room. I could feel the sincerity in every word, in every slight touch, in the way his hand lingered over mine. The sofa, the warm throw, the gentle lamp glow, all seemed to pause around us, giving space to this delicate but undeniable connection. I responded instinctively, leaning my forehead against his shoulder, feeling the steady warmth of his body. Our hands still rested lightly together, fingers brushing, as if testing the reality of this closeness. Each subtle movement carried meaning. The tilt of his head, the brush of his arm against mine, the soft rise and fall of his chest. There was an intimacy here that didn't need explicitness, only the quiet acknowledgement of shared emotion. Marcos's lips brushed against the side of my forehead, soft and deliberate, a gentle claim that spoke louder than words. I closed my eyes, allowing myself to savor the moment, letting every tension melt into the calm certainty of his presence. My hands rested lightly on his arm, tracing the sleeve of his white shirt, feeling the warmth beneath. "You're different from anyone I've known," I whispered, the words trembling slightly. He chuckled softly, a warm, low sound that made the room feel even smaller, more intimate. "And yet, somehow, perfectly familiar," Marcos replied, his hand moving just enough to rest against the small of my back, guiding me subtly without pressure. The golden lamplight highlighted the soft fall of his jet-black hair, the smoothness of his clean-shaven face, the casual elegance of his fitted shirt. I matched him instinctively, my hands resting lightly on his torso, my body responding to the quiet rhythm of closeness. Time seemed to slow. The quiet flicker of shadows across the neutral-toned sofa, the soft warmth of the throw, and the gentle glow of the lamp created a cinematic cocoon. Every small gesture, every gentle touch, every lingering glance told a story words could never capture. This was more than attraction. It was recognition, surrender, and the long-awaited acknowledgement of feelings we had both hidden. Finally, I leaned slightly into him, pressing my shoulder against his. His hand moved just slightly, thumb brushing in a comforting, reassuring way. I could feel the steady rise and fall of his breath, the warmth radiating from his body, the quiet strength of his presence. "Marcos, I think I've been waiting for this too," I admitted softly, my voice blending with the ambient warmth of the room. He smiled, soft and knowing, leaning just enough to rest his cheek lightly against my head. "And now," he murmured, "you don't have to wait anymore." In that moment, the sofa, the lamp, the soft throw, and the quiet living room faded into irrelevance. All that mattered was a gentle, restrained intimacy we had carved out together. Two men, fully present, fully aware, sharing a closeness that was as emotional as it was romantic. His arms had other plans when he said goodnight, and I realized with quiet thrill that mine were ready to meet them, finally without hesitation, fully and without regret.